Big bounce today in ES as price continues to trade in a range-bound fashion. Now, coming into the sesh, or even before that, into the close yesterday, the end-of-day recap that we had yesterday, I was talking about watching how price trades versus that near-term area of support. Now, yesterday's move was quite interesting. We gapped outside of what was an inside daily bar on SPY and ES, gapped into that upper resistance area, pretty much sold off. It was a bit of a bearish engulfing bar, likely trapped a lot of people short here overnight, shorting overnight, looking for that gap lower. Now, this was the incorrect move simply because price, despite that ugly looking or bearish looking daily bar, was just testing a near-term area of support. So we have a saying, and that is never short support. That's kind of what we saw this morning. Price test the lower bounds of that support zone, 45.45, 45.50 area. Big area of supply through here for the past couple of weeks. And then we just see a rally, which actually starts during the pre-market session. So ideally, what I was looking for today was an open near that 45.50, an open near that 45.45. We just did not see that materialize for today's trading. Ended up opening near that 45.80 level. Kind of a tricky spot to be getting involved with new trades there. I personally had a no trade day simply because I was looking for an entry near the range low. Didn't materialize. Did not want to be too aggressive near that mid-range point. Generally speaking, when you are trading within a range, you have to understand that the best risk to reward, the strongest opportunities are always near the edge of the range. So that's going to be at the 4,600 zone. That was yesterday. We saw that short. Or this morning, 45.50, 45.45 area, this support zone. Now, when you're opening in the middle of the range, of course, you don't have a stronger level to be working with. Yes, we have some mid-range reference points that we can lean on to establish a trade idea, but those are always going to be lower conviction plays. So as far as moving forward, of course, price continues to trade within this range. What I'm looking at and kind of the call all week has been continued range trading until Friday when we have NFP, and NFP will likely resolve the range. So tomorrow morning, 1 hour before the market opens, we do have some important economic data that will be released, and we'll be looking to see how price trades once again near the edges of the range. I'm fully expecting the range to resolve following NFP. Which direction? Of course, I have no crystal ball. I'm not quite sure. What we do know is that this has been a bull's tape. I would not be surprised to see higher prices following NFP. We were talking in the trading mentorship group yesterday. I would like to see a bit more of a shakeout here, but meaning it undercuts the lows before putting in that next leg higher. But that's a scenario that we may just not be granted, right? And so as a reminder, the main structure at play here, what we had was 4 months of the index downtrending. Now that changed over here early to mid-November, and once that structure actually flipped, the target for that change in character is the July high, right? So we do still have a bit more of upside before that July high that may align with the breakout that we see from this range. But of course, no crystal ball here or anything like that. As traders, we just want to be reactionary to what price is showing us. So for tomorrow, once again, we're going to be looking at 4,600 and 45.45. I imagine following NFP, we're going to have prices well outside of that range. And so likely we'll have to update the levels following the NFP report and just kind of see where we're at and assess from there. So something to look forward to tomorrow. Now, as far as NQ, QQQ, the setup is pretty similar. Looking at QQQ, once again, it's been mentioned that buyers bulls need to continue to defend this unfilled gap here, as well as the rising 21 MA is pretty much what we've seen. Setup is almost identical to ES, right? A bit of variance there, but we're pretty much just looking for the exact same thing. We want to see how price trades versus this 2 to 3 week range. Once again, very similar to ES. The probability that this range breaks out tomorrow is pretty high. The direction still unknown. Once again, I am leaning bullish. Now, I don't have any exposure overnight, and I won't carry exposure through a data event like that, just FYI. But because of the recent trend and because of how this structure is set up, definitely leaning to continued upside here on both SPY and QQQ. So now, as far as individual names, the list, we did have a few more ideas to be looking at for individual stocks. That was Google. So some news in Google today. For tomorrow, we'll be looking at the second day play here. We're trading on well above average volume. The challenge with Google tomorrow is that Google is a market stock, so it's likely just going to be mirroring what QQQ does. If that is the case, most likely you just want to be focusing on QQQ rather than Google. Now, we do have Palo Alto Networks, PANW. This is a really good looking setup. This is a bit of a tight range here. We have a setup that is likely going to give another leg higher. Now, this is at 52-week highs, all-time highs, just looking for continuation, essentially a breakout of what is a 2-week range on this thing. Incredibly strong. Just looking for a continuation play there. It's not in play or anything like that, but technical setup does look good up through 295. Shop, this is going to be a swing watch, have a big daily and weekly time frame base here that is starting to resolve higher. We can see that all the moving averages curling up. Most likely this thing's going to be trending higher for the weeks and months to come. Looking for some type of entry here for a longer term hold, maybe 90 days out calls. Need an entry though. Need maybe a retest of that 21 MA, a retest of these recent highs to grab that long on Shop. We also have Snow. So this one's been on watch this week, looking for this move up through 192 to trigger the weekly base breakout. Now, I've mentioned this before, and it kind of aligns with what we see in the index as well. Anytime you have a trending move and price just kind of consolidates near that area of resistance, that is not a bearish development, right? This is actually a typical Wyckoff development. Price starts to coil, gets very, very tight near that area of resistance. That's all the supply being absorbed by buyers. Eventually, it resolves higher. And so we're looking for that trade in Snow as a day trade, potentially tomorrow with the index, if the index does resolve higher. And on that same idea, you have the same type of setup here, right? Big trend move, price just consolidates near a prior resistance point. Once again, the pattern does favor the upside on this current setup in ES. Now, back to individual names. The last one we had on the list was Uber. This, again, was on watch earlier this week. We're looking for that continuation move up through 61 here to go for all-time highs. So pretty straightforward. Index tomorrow, we want to see post NFP which way the range is breaking, and then just take it from there. Likely be updating the levels and the setup post whatever the data is there. Give it a few minutes to settle, and then I'll send some updated levels following the live stream, following the notes being posted, and then of course following data. Individual names, we have Google, PANW, Shop, Snow, and Uber. That's it for today, guys. Hope you had a great day. Pretty much it was a slow day on my end personally. No trade day taken today. Could not find a decent entry that I liked, and was not watching the charts on this pullback entry. If you caught this pullback entry, congratulations. That was definitely the easy money play of the day. Clean pullback into intraday structure. We also had VWAP right through there. Awesome signal bar. showed follow through into session highs. That's just an incredible trade. So if you caught that, congrats. If not, definitely study that setup. That is a textbook setup that you want to be able to get involved with. So hope everyone had a great day. I will see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Take care and have a great afternoon.